And you would recollect a few days ago, the government also gave a diktat to the Coal India to reserve 80% of its coal to power projects. Later in indirect taxes, I'll talk briefly about one or two other things which is done for indirect taxes to help. So one could say a clear takeaway to spur growth, investment in infrastructure is likely to be substantially hiked. This is one good thing to support growth. Frankly, gentlemen, there is very little else, which one cannot dismiss as cosmetic, which will not set the Yamuna on fire. Theek hai, it will help you buy some share or something very trivial and retail. But is it going to change the complexion of India's economy? Clearly no, nothing very substantial. He has done some tinkering in direct taxes. I think this is explained, which could stimulate some activity in the capital market. The 50,000 Rajiv Gandhi scheme is something. It's okay, nothing great, but something. Of course, in indirect taxes, he has reduced the STT, Securities Transaction Tax, by about 25 basis points, from 0.125 to 0.1, but that's only on delivery-based transactions. And if you look at the complexion of the Indian market, it's, as Sitaram Yechury once said in a TV program when I was with him, India is the biggest casino in the world, 300,000 casinos where people are sitting and gambling from 9:30 to 3:30. I think he was partly right. If you look at the Indian capital market at about 1,80,000 crores of 180 lakh crores of 1.8 lakh crores of transactions in a day, about 90% is intraday through derivatives or intraday in cash market. So it's unbelievable compared to any other capital market. So that's outside the ambit of this STT relaxation. So that would affect only a small portion of the market. So one could say Mr. Pranab Mukherjee is favorably inclined to the capital market, but hasn't done that much. Then let's come to the important thing called the fiscal deficit. How has he tried to bring down from 5.9 to 5.1? Very key question. I think three strategies. Two specific and one built on hope. Now, why is this fiscal deficit so important? Once I had gone to a leading business school to talk about things, and one bright guy, Ahmedabad, I think, asked me, "Sir, I don't understand this. Can you please explain to me in 4 or 5 lines how it actually..." See, what happens in fiscal, what is this fiscal deficit? It's money, right? It's money. If you and I had a problem like that in our house, we'll go bankrupt. If a corporate has a problem like that with the bank, he'll be taken to the court. But the government has one great advantage. It has the mint with it. It can print money. And it can put out government bonds like anything. This is the fiscal deficit. So when government borrows more money, two things happen. One is,
how much it comes in money
I'm not good at numbers at all. I'm very poor at numbers, but it's somewhere in one of those books, yeah. Yeah. You see, two things happen. Interest rates go up. The most important thing is interest rates go up. And friends, I'll give you a simple example. For the government of India, today its borrowing cost is what, 8.24 or something? 10-year bond is at 8.24 yield on Friday in the money market. If it came down to 7.5, let us say, the interest saving on interest it pays, is more than all the additional taxes which he is raising. From service tax, from excise duty, 10 to 12, etc., etc. This is the magnitude, because interest, apart from defense, is the biggest component of government outflow. Apart from the principal it pays back, which is what we call the debt trap. So when you have such a high fiscal deficit, your interest rates in the economy are very high. Global average of interest rates is 3 to 4%. In the US, it's 0%. And in India, how can Indian industry compete at 8.25%? If your banks are lending at 13%, who will put up an industry? Who will put up risk capital where the basic cost of capital is 13%? Who will do it? He's not nuts. He'll put it in a liquid mutual fund and go home, which is why there's no private investment activity. So the fiscal deficit increases the cost of capital in the economy and ruins the economy, ruins the stock market. If there is one single element that has the biggest effect on the stock market, it is the interest rate. I'm not saying this now, last 100 years, this is, as you drop the apple, it will fall down. It's a truth like that. This is second thing what people call is a crowding out effect. There's only that much money in the system. Right? There's only that much money with LIC, mutual funds, with banks, etc. If government goes and swallows all the money, nothing is left for private sector. This is what's called the classic crowding out. So it's vitally, vitally important that the fiscal deficit of the government is kept very low. In 2004, when this government took office, India's fiscal deficit was 4%. The 10-year bond was 6.9%. The rupee dollar was 39 rupees 40 paisa. This was, and if I go bore you with more numbers, and I hate numbers on a Saturday afternoon, today the current account deficit, I think Raghav Behel tried to pin down finance minister yesterday and he got very angry with him. The current account deficit in India is $180 billion. Can you imagine? Our exports are less than our import, and our reserves are what? $295 billion. So our reserves, we have only 15 months of current account deficit. It's a basket case. If we don't get FDI and FII, a rupee will go to 60. So I understand. The what called micro market linkages. So everything affects everything else. Rupee dollar, interest rate, stock market, government finances. So that way we should give Pranab Mukherjee credit for increasing taxes, doing something to take the trajectory to 5.1%, which if achieved is very good. I would say commendable. Now, where did I say some of it is based on prayer and hope? And his critics will say lies. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying I get about 50 research reports on the budget. Now maybe 75 in my iPad. So everybody uses his own expression depending on the writer of the research. He is expecting, what he's done is for the so-called subsidies. India has 3 major subsidies, right? Food, fertilizer and fuel, the 3 Fs of India. He is expecting, he has set himself a roadmap for the first time to reduce the total subsidies to 2% of GDP. How he will do it, and then to 1.7, laudable, fantastic. How he will do it, nobody has a clue. Nobody has a clue as to how it will come down. But GDP itself going up, it will go down a little bit, but not to that extent at all. And if you see his provisions for subsidies, the provisions are possible only if Brent is at 110, diesel prices are increased by 4 rupees, and LPG by 80 rupees. Pata nahi hone wala cheez hai. But, so these are the assumptions under which the subsidy is built. If that subsidy is done, then the fiscal deficit is possible. Of course, he should get this revenue. He should get all the revenue projections, 27. We should say he's taking credit for 2 important capital receipts. 30,000 crores for selling public sector shares. That might be possible actually, because he's now using novel routes like we did in ONGC, And there are two chunky selling of the balance holding in Hindustan Zinc and Balco, which can get substantial money from this Vedanta Agarwal group. So I think 30,000. He is expecting 40,000 crores from spectrum sale. The new reissuing of 2G after the Supreme Court verdict, then some more 3G and probably some 4G. So these are 70,000 crores of capital receipts he's assuming. Good luck to him if he gets that. So the whole fiscal deficit scenario of 5.9 to 5.1 is based on subsidies of 2%, reduction in fuel subsidies, some reduction in fertilizer subsidies, some talk of urea being decontrolled. I don't know how, when they'll do it, how they'll do it, where they'll do it. And food, of course, he's saying Aadhaar will prevent leakages through direct cash transfer. That's again more hope. So there's a lot of hope built into this 5.5. But what it is, it's a challenging roadmap and we all wish him well. And if he brings it down to 5.1, prognosis of most of us is the 10-year bond will come to about 7.7, 7.75. There could be a 1.5% reduction in interest rates by the RBI, and then your 7.6 is possible. This is the crucial importance. I won't waste your time about populism. I think we people in Delhi, we know the worst of populism. We all wish it were not there, but it's a fact of life. On a TV show day before yesterday, some guy, I said that, probably we should have an economic emergency for 1 year and stop all these politicians from talking. And he got so angry that you're a dictator, can you do this in China? I said, the people will like it, I said. Anyway, it's a very sensitive issue, but we can't talk. But all that we are saying is some of the expected decisions. Now, I'll just talk about two things. You can talk so much about this budget, but I'll just talk about two things. There is a total lack of big-ticket reforms. Fortunately, there is no great hope on big-ticket reform either, but the total lack. We heard certain statements on pension bill and insurance. Hopefully, they'll get done. That's not that big ticket, really. There is again talk of building up a consensus on multi-brand retail, which will have a huge impact, I feel, on FDI and real estate market in the country, which is in the doldrums. But there's only hope rather than. So there's nothing one could call as a step forward in reforms, trying to do things differently. But fortunately, nobody expected much from this government. The second point I want to discuss is, where does all this leave the stock market? Considering when I come to speak, people normally expect me to say something about stock market. Let me give my views on that. I've always held, based on whatever experience I've had over the last almost 4 decades in stock market, that budgets are events. They don't change the trend. In market, we talk about trends and events. GDP, economic growth is a trend. Interest rates are a trend. They set up long-term bull and bear markets. Events are serious things, no doubt, but they hardly ever change a trend. Exception, probably 1991 budget of Manmohan Singh, followed by the 92 budget, where an event started a different trend, you could say. But those are very epoch-making events, not to be repeated very often. So my own view is, right now, most markets are in a bull market, globally, driven by various reasons. This is not the correct forum to talk about it. I don't think this budget will change that. Change the existing trend driven by general global economic recovery, general liquidity flows away from bonds and gold into stocks,